Peter, just with this trade deadline, what was your main goal? What did you hope to accomplish?
We wanted to add as much impact talent to the organization as possible, and that will help us get back to where we need to be as quickly as possible, and I feel good that we accomplished that.
Where do you feel ultimately you got better? I know adding a lot of bats was key as well.
Yeah, we got a lot of really high-quality impact position players, really a wide range of types of players, guys who are more offense first, defense first, and really a lot of just very young players with really bright futures in front of them.
Kyle Sowers is here. What other guys do you maybe anticipate that you acquired being brought up to compete at this level this season?
We're not entirely sure yet, but really excited to see what Kyle can do. I think he just needs kind of an opportunity to play, and he's going to get that here, and he's shown he's got big power, he's a good defender, he does a lot of things really well.
What was the decision, I guess, Robbie was just a big league club in Baltimore to option him rather than with you guys?
Yeah, we're going to send him down and get him some work on the infield, kind of evaluate where his best position might be, how he's going to best fit our major league team moving forward. But he's another guy that we really strongly believe in. I think he's an excellent hitter. I think he can do a lot of things defensively. He's got a really bright future.
To make some of these moves, you obviously had to trade away guys that were in the everyday lineup, in the starting rotation. What do you envision this team in the second half of the season from here on out to look like?
There's a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of young players that we have, both in-house players that we acquired, players that we've recently acquired on waivers, whatever it might be. There's opportunity here, and I think we have guys that are really ready to take advantage of that and show us what they can do.
Whether it's maybe additions, subtractions, guys that might be back next year, what can be the expectation for you guys to complete in 2025?
You know, that's something we'll look forward to in 2025. I'm excited that we're able to add a lot of talent to the organization, and I'm excited that we still have a lot of talent from before the deadline still in the organization too.
The pitcher that you guys got back in the De La Cruz trade to Pittsburgh, what's the status on his
Sorry, can you say that again?
Oh, the pitcher that you guys got back in the DLC trade to Pittsburgh, what's the status on his health?
Yeah, he's throwing live BPs. That's what he was doing with Pittsburgh. Report is that he's healthy, he's feeling good. He's somebody that we're going to take slowly. He's obviously had a pretty extensive health history, but when healthy, he's got electric stuff.
What does the evaluation process look like when you're determining when's the right time to call these guys up?
It's very case by case and subjective. I wish I could tell you that there was a perfect way to do it, and we certainly don't have that. But it's important that guys have a foundation underneath them so that they can compete at the major league level. And the gap between AAA and the major leagues is probably as wide now as it's ever been. So making sure that guys are working on things before they get to the big leagues that are going to be exposed at the big league level is really important.
Peter, how's the thought process and how tough is the decision when deciding to trade a player that has not one but 2 or maybe 3 or maybe even more years of control left, knowing that they could be making an impact in the current roster?
Yeah, it's tough. These are all tough decisions, and especially with guys that you have control for multiple years that could be around here, right? And it really is a case-by-case evaluation of how the player fits on our team, how he fits in the market, and what we can add to the organization. And really, in most of these cases, it came down to the idea that we were getting one, if not multiple players that we think are impact players for the next, 5, 6 years, if not longer. And that's what we're trying to build here.
Was that the case with Jazz?
Yeah, I think Agustin Ramirez in particular was somebody that we really like. We think he is an impact catcher. Those are very hard to find on both sides of the ball, and to be able to get a player like him was really compelling.
It's obviously always tough for fans to lose players that they have emotional connections to. What would you say to the fans as to why the vision you had at the trade deadline will end up in the long run being best for the team?
I'd like fans to develop emotional connections with the next Marlins stars. The players who are still here, certainly, and the players who hopefully we just acquired. And those Marlins stars, when they come up here, they're going to help us get to the playoffs multiple years. They're going to help us win the World Series multiple times. And they're going to develop the connections with the fans, too. And that's something that's really important to us as a front office, that we can have both those connections and winning teams. And ultimately, what we're trying to do, we're trying to win as many World Series as we can.
Everybody you're bringing in, obviously, you're hoping to make an impact. But when you look at the lengthy list of players and prospects that you acquired, Are there a couple of guys in particular that you just felt really good about getting and what they can potentially do?
It's hard to call attention to, one or two, but I think to be able to get so many players of different profiles and styles, I think is the thing that I'm most excited about. It's important to just have a lot of different ways of impacting the team, right? We've got guys who I think are going to be mashers and really hit. We've got guys I think are going to be excellent defenders and base runners and add a lot of value that way. We've got guys that I think can be front of the line starting pitchers. And we have kind of everything in between. And I think that just having a lot of different types of players allows a lot of things to go right.
You came in, you inherited an organization that had a history of cycling through players continuously. Now that you've brought in your own staff and brought in everybody, does it now feel like this is your team, that this is now the Peter Bendix era has begun in the Marlins organization?
I don't really think of it as anybody's era. This is an organization that has already won 2 World Series championships. This is an organization that has Hall of Famers that have played for it, and hopefully more Hall of Famers to come. This is all something that is for the city of Miami, for South Florida. I'm honored to be a steward of the organization right now, and I'm really excited to build this into the type of organization that I think we all think it can be. But it's not mine or anybody else's. It's the fans, right? It's the people of South Florida.
How do you think the market ended up playing out, and in particular being able to capitalize on the strong bullpen you guys have this season?
Yeah, I think that there are a lot of teams that are very close to the playoffs this year, right? And so because of that, I think there were a lot of teams that were trying to make their team better for this year, and it led to opportunities for us to add maybe more talent than I might have predicted beforehand. I hope in the future that we're on the other side of that buy and sell, but in the meantime, we're trying to make the circumstances that we're in as strong as possible.
Bill Santos, first baseman, to start out with you guys, or will still see time at third?
He'll still see some time at third. He's a big guy, but he's actually surprisingly athletic and surprisingly fast. And so you don't necessarily think that when you look at him, but he's somebody that isn't necessarily just a first baseman for us.
He's already in the 40-man. Is there a possibility that we might see him before the season ends?
De Los Santos?
Yeah.
He's not on the 40-man yet.
Oh,
yeah.
And then just to confirm, is Paulie down in AA now?
Yes.
What was the decision there with him being in AAA before?
Paulie skipped AA entirely, and so we'd like to get him some playing time there where he can play every day, where he can have an opportunity to maybe breathe a little bit. He's somebody that we really believe in the talent and think that maybe slowing down his progression could be beneficial.
Because Towers is in that clubhouse, we're going to be able to get a look at him. What can you tell us about him and what you feel him specifically is going to add to this team?
I think he can really hit. I think he is a power bat that has proven everything he needs to prove at the minor league level, and now he's just one adjustment away from being a really good middle of the lineup hitter at the major league level too.
Snelling, kind of a down year, but obviously a top 100 guy. We've seen what the organization's been able to do with Lazard and Weathers, kind of turn him out. Is that somewhat the expectation here or hope for this?
Yeah, I think Snelling has top of the rotation potential. He's 20 years old and he's in AA. He's one of the youngest pitchers in AA, and he is competing. He's throwing strikes. He's missing bats. The stuff is still really good and improving. So I think he's really shown everything you would want from a 20-year-old young pitching prospect.
And then Adam, the other starter, he's had some starts already in the big leagues. Is he one of those, especially with the starting pitching situation with all the injuries, that we could probably see him sooner rather
Potentially.
than later?
We'll see. Again, a case-by-case thing, but Adam struggled in the big leagues. I think he has plenty of potential, and I think that I don't know exactly when his next opportunity will be, but very confident in what he can do.
Is there an under-the-radar name, maybe from a lot of trades from yesterday, that maybe it's not one of those big-name prospects that came over that you could shed some light on why that's an under-the-radar guy?
I would say it's not the only one, but we were very excited to acquire Wilfredo Lara. He's a little younger, a little bit further away, but also is somebody who does everything well, and there's a lot of different ways that he could become a productive big leaguer.
With Bell gone now, on the days that Berger's playing third, do you think the backup first baseman's currently on the roster, or will that have to come from the minor leagues?
I'm not sure. I think that it's probably on the roster right now, but Skip is the one who who decides how we want to deploy the players on the roster, and I'm in constant conversation with him to make sure he feels comfortable with all the options that we have.